Chapter 9. Kay led Edwards onto the main floor, where a giant video screen hung on the wall like a billboard. A pair of aliens sat at a control console in front of it. They were small, bony creatures, each with 8 arms and a single eye atop a central stalk. They waved at Kay, 2 or 3 arms apiece. "Meet the twins," Kay said. "We can't pronounce their real names, but we call them Mickey and Maud. Girls, this here is the new recruit." The twins made noises like leaky tire valves. Edwards nodded. "How's it going?" Kay turned back to look at the video. "Flat screen," he said. "You can roll it up like a poster and put it anywhere you want. Another little gift from a smuggler. Useful since observation is at the heart of our little endeavor." Edwards looked at the screen. Upon it was a map of the world, thousands of tiny lights flashing upon it, and log lines next to the blinking dots. On a nearby wall was a mural, the New York World's Fair. Kay pulled his attention back to the screen. "This map shows the location of every registered alien on the planet. Places like New York City, you have to go to a detailed view to see them all, but we got them." Kay nodded at the screen. "Most of them, a dot on the map is all we need. Some of them we keep under closer surveillance." Kay said, "Girls, you want to bring up the rogues gallery, please?" The 2 aliens laid hands, tentacles, whatever, on the keyboard. The map changed to hundreds of small boxes, each with a small video image. "These are the aliens. In public, what you see here, they all look human. In private, they relax a little." Edwards stared at the screen. There was an image of a pop rock star who'd sold millions of records. Well, that wasn't any big surprise. A lot of people figured he wasn't altogether human, the way his face kept changing. But there was the guy who hosted that late-night network news TV program. There, that tall dude who did infomercials where he guaranteed to make you rich and happy. How about that? Doesn't make sense, does it? No, I gotta say it does make a kind of weird sense. I mean, when I was a 3rd grader, the other kids told me I was crazy because I said our teacher was from, Venus. "Miss Edelson," Kay said. Edwards turned to stare at him. "You are shitting me." Kay said, "Girls?" A woman appeared on the screen. She had a mean face, cat's eyes glasses, and from the angle, a tail. "Not Venus," Kay said. "Titan, one of the big moons of Jupiter, actually." Son of a gun. Edwards looked up, saw Zed approaching. The older man shook his head. "Follow me." Edwards did as he was told. Kay was right behind him, grinning. "Am I missing the joke?" Edwards said as they walked. "Not really. Things have changed a little since I came on board, but the process is remarkably similar. It is educational." Zed led them down a corridor, around a couple of turnings, up a ramp, down a circular staircase, through a long hallway. Edwards was pretty sure he could find his way back to the main room, but he wouldn't bet his neck on it. After what seemed like a walkway, way too long for them to still be in one building, they arrived at a locker room. It was all in white. Walls, ceilings, floor, lockers, benches, showers, white as a stadium full of marshmallows. Zed led them inside. He opened a locker. Inside was a black suit on a hanger, a white shirt and black tie. On the shelf above it, a black hat and black sunglasses, and black shiny shoes on the bottom shelf. Your basic wardrobe in your basic colors, dull, in the extreme, could put a speedy junkie to sleep just looking at it. From now on, you'll dress in sanctioned attire supplied to you by MIB Special Services. You issue underwear too? Kay grinned, reached into the locker, and pulled a plastic bag from under the hat. Inside the bag were black bikini briefs. "We enjoy some leeway. You get a choice of jockey or boxers." Kays said, "You get a choice of jockey or boxers," Kays said. I figured you for a jock. Edwards took the package of underwear, shook his head and waved at the locker. How you know this stuff is gonna fit? It'll fit. We got your measurements the first time you walked into the building. You dress to the left, don't you? Damning, man. Come on, Zed said. This is the easy part. Edwards tossed the underwear back into the locker and closed it. No lock. I guess nobody would steal any of this anyhow. Kay and Zed both grinned. Kay grinned again at the big screen in the computer room. All of Edwards' ID paper was up. Birth certificate, school records, driver's license, social security card, library card, police ID, everything. Behind him, Zed said to the kid, "You'll conform to the identity we give you. You eat where we tell you, live where we tell you, and you get approval for any expenditure over $100 in writing in triplicate." The kid gave Zed a dark look. Kay touched a control. Behind him, Edwards said, "What's this?" Zed said, "Have a seat. Put your hands there." Kay turned, watched the kid slip his hands into the imprinter. The device was a flat black plate that looked as if somebody had pressed his hands into the plastic like it was soft clay, leaving deep impressions. "Hold still, this might sting a little." There came a burst of laser light, bright enough to seep past the kid's hands. "Ouch! Ow!" He jerked his hands up and looked at the palms. A little residual smoke drifted from them. "You now have a new set of fingerprints," Zed said. "They aren't on record anywhere except right here. If something happens on the job and you leave prints behind where you shouldn't, they will be changed again, so you want to be careful because it does sting a bit." Edwards looked at his hands. "Stings? Don't be doing anything to me that hurts. If this is what you think stings, damn, look at that. You shortened my lifeline." "That's not all. Don't be surprised next time you go to take a leak." "What?" "Just a joke. We aren't humorless, you know. Come on over here," Kay said. The kid moved to look at the screen. "Hey, there I am." "Nope, there you were." Kay tapped a control. The ID on screen whirled and vanished. What replaced it was the kid's name, James Darrell Edwards III. Kay said, "You just quit the force, paid your rent, and gave up your lease." "Man, that's a rent-controlled apartment." "You don't exist at the DMV anymore? You never got a library card, a passport, or a season ticket to see the Yankees? Your credit card records went away, and your schools had no official records of you ever attending them." "You can do that?" "Already done," Kay said. Zed said, "Your new image is being crafted so you don't stand out." "I don't know. Up in Harlem, that suit might make me look like a Muslim. Fit right in with Brother Frackin' and the Fruit of Islam." Zed ignored him and continued, "You won't leave much of an impression in anybody's memory. What they probably will recall, if anything, will be the suit." "I hear that. Black suit picks up everything but money and women," the kid said. Kay grinned. "Watch." He touched a control. The name on screen started to change as the cursor went from the right to left, backspacing and deleting. James Darrell Edwards III, James Darrell Edward, James Dar, James, Jam, J. When it got to the final letter in the kid's name, the kid's former name, the cursor stopped. Zed said, "As of this moment, you don't exist. You were never born. You are a rumor, a shadow, a ghost." The kid stared at the screen. He frowned. "You aren't part of the system. You are over it, above it, beyond it. We are them. We are the they people. We are the they people talk about in whispers. We are the men in black, and you just became one of us. There is no James Darrell Edwards III anymore. Your name from now on is J." Kay turned away from the J on screen and gave the kid a smile. "Welcome aboard, Jay. Now go get dressed and let's go make the world safer." When Edwards, no, he had to think of himself as Jay, now came out of the locker room, Kay was waiting in the hall. Jay touched his tie, slipped the shades on, and smiled at Kay. See the difference between you and me? I can pull this off. I look good. You look like one of the Blues Brothers with a hangover. Kay shook his head. A vision of sartorial splendor, all right, all right. That's me. Let's rock and roll. Jay followed Kay down another hallway. This place was huge. It had to occupy half the block at least. And weird as it all was, it was also exciting. He had to give it that. Who'd have ever thought it? Aliens? And him joining the border patrol to keep the suckers in line. Well, probably not that much different from NYPD, come to think of it. He looked at the older man walking in front of him and wondered for a second what Kay's name had been before they chopped it down. Carey, Carl, Karebs? Somebody brushed past him, but when he turned to look, all he saw was what looked like a kind of ghostly trail, like motion images on a time-exposed photograph. Wasn't anybody connected to them. He started to say something, then changed his mind. He was going to be asking a lot of questions, and that got old quick. He'd just go along and see what got volunteered. After all, he was one of the team now, and it had to be better than the team where he'd played last, right? Edgar piloted the Zapham ground vehicle toward Manhattan. His current location was a place called New Jersey. The piloting, driving they called it here, had become increasingly precarious. The number and varieties of vehicles upon the paved paths he had been following called variously for reasons he could not determine: road, street, avenue, place, way, highway, tollway, boulevard, lane, promenade, had increased steadily, so that now he was forced to creep along at a speed a Wyverian blood slug could match, or even better, if it was feeling frisky. How did these creatures manage to build a civilization if they couldn't construct vehicle pathways sufficient to allow free movement? As with so many other things about this mud hole of a planet, this made no sense. Any sentient being with two neurons to rub together knew that if the path was too narrow, you flattened whatever was to the sides and widened the path until the flow of vehicular traffic was unimpeded. It was a basic tenet. This bottleneck effect was idiocy to the fifth power. At least they could have equipped these wheeled ground slots with flight capabilities. But no. And one would think that any species worth done would have developed a power source other than fossil fuels. Didn't they realize that such propellants were exceedingly finite? And that when they ran out of them, which they would certainly do within a short period of time if left alone, their whole species would be practically immobile? Edgar had yet to see a solar cell, a rimmed-on generator, or even a fusion bike. When the fossils got used up, they would have these useless vehicles parked everywhere, rusting away as the caustic oxygen atmosphere ate them. Good for nothing, save perhaps food for any passing blee moth metilators who might happen to be hungry. Real hungry, given all the blee moths would have to choose from. A vehicle to his rear emitted a jarring blast of noise. This was, Edgar had learned from experimenting with the steering controls of his own vehicle, a warning device. A horn, it was called, according to the translator, though the basic definition of such a thing had to do with headgear on certain large mammalian animals. The connection between that and this blare of sound produced when one pressed on the control was not apparent to Edgar. From watching the other pilots, Edgar had learned the proper response to such a signal. He leaned the upper section of his disguise out through the open window, extended the middle digit of his port hand upward, and yelled at the pilot to his rear, "Hey, up yours, pal." Satisfied that he was communicating properly with these stupid terrains, Edgar leaned back to the vehicle's cockpit and concentrated on his piloting. How did they manage it? If this was a daily occurrence, this crawl to get anywhere, surely most of them would have gone insane by now and begun killing each other. Destroying them would be doing them a favor. Really, it would.